I didn't mean to spy, I just sat there, frozen, while the Bluetooth revealed her double life. It started with a glitch. The kind of thing you don't notice until it's too late. I was just sitting in my car in the driveway trying to decompress for 5 minutes before walking into the house. It had been a brutal day, endless tickets at work, an argument with a vendor, and I hadn't even eaten lunch. The podcast I was listening to had just started a segment on tech scams when it abruptly cut out. For a second, I thought maybe my phone battery had died. But then the infotainment display on my dashboard flickered and flashed. The source changed from my phone to another device. Bluetooth connected. Jennifer's Hyundai, it said. My brow furrowed. That didn't make sense. My phone had never paired with her car. She was home, her Hyundai Tucson was parked inside the garage, but I was sitting in my car. I hadn't driven hers in years. Not once had I used her Bluetooth. I was just about to toggle the source back when something stopped me. A voice. Not from the podcast. Not from the radio. A man's voice. Smooth. Low. Intimate. Still think about last night? My breath caught. Then came a short, breathy laugh. Her laugh. My wife's laugh. Followed by a slow, sensual R&B track thumping softly through the speakers. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. My hands stayed glued to the steering wheel like I was in the middle of a crash I couldn't look away from. The screen read, now playing, gym mix. But this wasn't a workout playlist. This was a message. A recording. I sat there paralyzed, surrounded by suburban silence, the hum of betrayal playing out over speakers that were never meant to deliver it. My wife, Jennifer, had been home for about 15 minutes. Her car was still warm. And apparently, so was the memory of whoever that man was. I finally turned the ignition off. The music stopped. So did the voices. But the pounding in my chest didn't. Inside the house, everything looked normal. Smelled normal. The scent of vanilla wax melt drifted from the living room. My wife stood in the kitchen, backlit by late afternoon sun, dressed in black leggings and an oversized gray tee, sipping one of those god-awful protein shakes she always pretended to enjoy. She looked up when she heard the door. Hey babe, you're home early. I tried to keep my face steady. Yeah, traffic wasn't bad. She smiled, cheeks faintly flushed like she just finished a serious workout. Or a shower. Her ponytail was damp. Stray wisps clung to her temples. You okay? She asked. Just tired. I wanted to ask her right then. Who was that voice? What the hell was that audio? But something inside me said, not yet. Get the facts first. So I smiled. I walked over. I kissed her on the cheek. It felt like kissing someone I didn't know. I spent the next few hours in a daze. She sat across from me on the couch while we watched reruns of some baking show, laughing at awkward contestants. I wasn't watching. I was analyzing every twitch of her smile. Every flicker of her eyes. Wondering what was real. By the time we went to bed, my mind was boiling over. She fell asleep almost immediately, curled under the comforter like a child. I stared at the ceiling. Then I got up. The garage was cold. Quiet. Her car sat there like a sleeping beast. I climbed in and pressed the power button. The display came to life. Media history recently played. There it was. VO_3.mp3. Played at 5:12 p.m. I tapped it. His voice again, silky and smug. Still think about last night? Her voice followed, clear as day, you make it hard not to. Then laughter. Then that same track. I hit stop, trembling. This wasn't a dial. This wasn't some flirty voice message from a friend. This was a saved file. One she had to have deliberately stored. I opened the file library. There were others. VO_1.mp3. Stretch_mirror_2.mov. Legday_cam.mov. It hit me then. These weren't songs. These weren't voice memos. These were recordings, videos and audio files neatly saved in a folder called Gym Mix. Except this wasn't a playlist. It was a hidden gallery. My hands went cold. My stomach twisted. I needed more. Proof. Confirmation. Evidence. I needed to know exactly how deep this went. Because if what I was seeing was real, if she had a whole library of moments with another man coded as workouts and playlists, then this wasn't just a fling. It was a life. One I had no part in. That night, I didn't sleep. Jennifer was out cold, curled up in bed like she hadn't just shattered the foundation of our marriage. Meanwhile, I stared at the ceiling, running over every smile, every kiss, every I love you we'd exchanged. Wondering how many were real. Wondering how many he'd seen too. At 2:47 a.m., I slipped out of bed and padded down the hall to my office. Closed the door quietly. Sat down at my desk and opened my laptop. First stop, her iCloud account. We shared the family plan. She always said she trusted me too much to keep secrets. Irony doesn't get more bitter than that. It took 3 minutes to log in. The same password she'd used since college, her old dog's name and her birth year. Once inside, I started poking around. There wasn't anything damning in her photos at first glance. But then I found the folder, tucked away under work documents. 17 video files, 6 labeled like fitness content, 11 audio clips, stretch_routine_1.mov, vo_1.mp3, cooldown_3.mov. Every instinct in me screamed not to open them, that some part of my soul would not come back from what was inside. I clicked anyway. The first video opened with a static shot of a gym mirror. Jennifer's setting up her phone, wearing her cropped workout top. For a moment, it almost looked like a real fitness video. Then he walks in, shirtless, smirking, tattoo on his chest, confident like he belonged in her world. She doesn't flinch. "Close the door," she says. I slammed the laptop shut, got up, walked to the kitchen. My legs didn't feel like mine. Poured a glass of water, didn't drink it, stared at the faucet while a slow throb started behind my eyes. She'd built an entire digital shrine to this affair, hidden in plain sight, labeled like lunges and squats. I couldn't decide what hurt more, the deceit or the planning. The next day, I called in sick. She left for work like nothing was wrong. "Don't stress too much today, okay?" she said, pecking my forehead. "I won't," I lied. The moment her car pulled out of the driveway, I sprinted back to my office. This time I watched the videos all the way through. One showed her on a mat stretching. He walks up, plants a kiss on her shoulder. She giggles. "He thinks I'm at spin class," she whispers. Another shows her in the back seat of a car. "My car. You left a mark," she says, grinning. "I kinda hope he sees it." I paused the video, rewound, played it again. "I kinda hope he sees it." She wasn't hiding. She was performing. Around noon, I checked her iMessages. Synced to her MacBook. Most threads were innocent, but there was one that stood out. Labeled Kevin G. I knew the name. I opened Instagram, searched the gym's account, scrolled through trainer profiles. Kevin Green, gym trainer, 32, confident, smirking in every photo, half naked in half of them, tagged Jennifer, multiple times, always smiling, always standing close. In one clip, they're doing a partner stretch, her back against his chest, her face flushed. She looks into the camera and says, "This one's for you, baby." Kevin grins. He doesn't even know, does he? Cut to black. I spent the rest of the afternoon researching, digging into every app she used, every folder she hid. Her Google Calendar had something curious, doctor appointment, Dr. Layton. I searched the name. No local match? Then something clicked. Kevin's sister. I remembered a tagged photo of her birthday dinner. In the caption, "So proud of Dr. L for opening her own practice." I found the clinic. Private OB/GYN, cash clients only. Jennifer had an appointment next Thursday. I checked our Amazon order history. 2 weeks ago, she bought a pregnancy test. Clear blue, double pack. My chest went cold. I hadn't touched her in over a month. I opened the trash under the bathroom sink. The box was there. Empty. Next to it, crumpled, a receipt. I held it like it might burst into flames. Thursday. 4 p.m. Doctor's appointment. If she walked in there alone, I might be able to believe something else. But if Kevin showed up too, then I'd know. And I was done pretending. Thursday came with the weight of 1,000 what-ifs. I pretended everything was normal. Kissed her goodbye like I wasn't holding the pieces of my sanity together with sheer willpower. She left at 3:15 p.m. Oversized hoodie. Leggings. No makeup. The exact look she wore when she said she was just running errands. She waved from the car. Smiled like nothing was wrong. 10 minutes later, I followed. 4 cars behind. I watched every turn she made, gripping the steering wheel like it was a lifeline. She drove straight to a strip mall 20 minutes out to a plain brick building with frosted glass windows. A tiny sign out front said, "Layton Women's Health." I parked across the street behind a nondescript SUV and waited. She sat in her car for a moment, then walked in. Alone. I held my breath, counted to 300. Then a gray Mustang rolled in. Kevin. I knew it was him before he even got out. Same smug gait, same gym bag slung over his shoulder. He glanced around once, then walked in through the same door. No hesitation. My stomach dropped. I stayed in the car for almost an hour, watching, heart hammering, wondering what I'd do if they came out holding hands, or worse, smiling. At 4:57 p.m. she walked out alone. No Kevin. No interaction. She got into her car, pulled out her phone, and sat there for 10 minutes typing. Then, and I swear on everything, she looked straight at my car and smiled, like she knew. That night, I tried to act normal. Made dinner. Small talk. She was glowing. Radiant. Work wasn't bad, she said, twirling pasta on her fork. Kind of a slow day. I nearly choked on my wine. Good, I said. You look happy. She smiled. Just been taking better care of myself. After dinner, she showered. I waited for the water to run, then crept back to her iPad. There it was. A new file in the hidden folder, labeled vo_4.mp3. I hit play. Jennifer's voice, soft and slow. He knows. I think he followed me. But it doesn't matter anymore. I made my choice. Then Kevin. We tell him next week. Tell me what, exactly? That they were together? That she was pregnant? I opened her calendar. Nothing next week except a blocked slot titled Final Step. I went cold. I was being timed. The next day, I confronted the OB/GYN office. I walked in, demanded to speak to Dr. Layton. The receptionist told me the practice didn't allow non-patients without appointments. My wife has one, I said. She was here yesterday. The woman glanced at the system, froze. I'm sorry. I can't disclose patient information. Was she alone? I asked. Sir, I really can't. Was there a man with her named Kevin Green? The name made her blink. Just for a second. Then she shut down. Please leave before I call security. That blink was all I needed. That night, I waited until Jennifer fell asleep. I tiptoed to her purse. Her phone. Her texts with Kevin were deleted. But her notes app wasn't. A new note. Title, telling Kyle. First line. He deserves honesty. But not everything. Second line. Say it was over weeks ago. Say you didn't know you were pregnant until this week. Say it might be his. I sat on the bathroom floor until sunrise. This wasn't just betrayal. It was strategy. The morning after I read that note, I couldn't look at her the same. Jennifer stirred next to me in bed and mumbled, "You okay?" I smiled. Just a weird dream. Lie. I was wide awake in the nightmare. She kissed my shoulder, then went to shower. I stayed frozen, replaying that line in her notes over and over, say it might be his. I hadn't touched her in weeks. We hadn't been intimate since she started staying late at the gym to decompress. Still, she planned to tell me the baby could be mine. That's when it hit me. She was never going to come clean. She was going to wrap the truth in so much manipulation I wouldn't be able to see it clearly even when it was right in front of me. That afternoon, she asked if I wanted to go to dinner next Friday. Said she made reservations. Just us, she smiled. Felt like we need some quality time. I nodded. Sounds perfect. What I didn't tell her was that I already had plans. Not with her. Not with anyone, really. But with the truth. I hired someone. A friend of a friend. Private investigator. Discreet. Expensive. I handed him Kevin's Instagram, our gym's address, Jennifer's phone number, and the appointment schedule from her shared calendar. Told him I needed photos. I needed timestamps. I needed proof that could scream louder than her lies. He didn't flinch. You'll have it in 3 days. Those 3 days were hell. I played my role perfectly. Romantic texts. Surprise coffee. I even offered to wash her car. She was glowing again. That smug, radiant kind of happy that made me sick. But I kept smiling. Because I had a countdown. On Thursday afternoon, my PI texted. Got something. Meet? We met at a diner 10 miles from home. He slid an envelope across the table. Photos. Time-stamped. Jennifer. Kevin. Together. 3 separate locations. 1 kiss. 1 handhold. And one that made my jaw clench so hard it popped. Them walking into a baby boutique. He held the door for her. She touched her stomach. I looked up at the PI. Did they buy anything? He nodded. Maternity pillow and prenatal vitamins. Was she wearing her ring? No. I shoved the photos back into the envelope. Paid for our coffees. Walked to my car like I was moving through molasses. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a future. One I was never supposed to be part of. When I got home, she was baking. The smell of cinnamon filled the kitchen. Hey babe, she called. Guess who learned how to make snickerdoodles? I smiled. Walked up. Kissed her forehead. I did. Because if she was going to lie until the very end, so would I. Just long enough to finish the plan. Friday came like a ticking bomb. Jennifer wore red. She never wore red unless she wanted attention. Her lipstick matched. Her heels clicked like punctuation marks across the hardwood. Reservations at 7, she called from the stairs. You ready? Almost, I said. Just finishing something. The something was a letter. Printed, folded, sealed in an envelope with her name on it. We drove in silence, save for her humming some R&B tune she claimed not to like anymore. I watched her from the corner of my eye, wondering if she knew what was coming. Wondering if she could feel the tremor in the air between us. The restaurant was dim and elegant. Candlelight, soft jazz, wine menus that didn't show prices. She loved places like this, places that whispered luxury. She ordered salmon. I got steak. Small talk floated between us like smoke. Work, weather, weekend plans. Then she leaned forward. I've been thinking a lot lately. About us. About starting fresh. Here it comes. I know I haven't been present, she continued. Things got complicated, but I want to fix that. I want to be honest with you. My heart pounded. Okay, I said. Be honest. She reached across the table, touched my hand. I'm pregnant, and I wanted you to hear it from me. I stared at her. And it might be mine, right? She nodded, eyes shining. Of course. We've been distant, but there were times. When? She blinked. What do you mean? Which times, Jennifer? Give me a date. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. I don't remember exact days. I reached into my jacket and pulled out the envelope, slid it across the table. This might help jog your memory. She hesitated, picked it up, opened it. Photos, Kevin, her, baby boutique, stamped dates. She went pale. Who gave you these? Does it matter? She opened her mouth to speak, but I held up a hand. Don't, just don't. I wanted you to have one last chance to come clean. One real moment. You chose to lie. She dropped the photos on the table. What are you saying? I stood up, tossed a few bills down. Enjoy dinner. Kyle, we're done. I walked out, didn't look back. When I got home, I changed the locks. Next week, she'll get served. Because the only thing worse than betrayal is being asked to help build a lie around it. The locksmith arrived Saturday morning. I watched through the peephole as he changed out the deadbolt like he was replacing a battery. No idea that with each twist, he was sealing off the last piece of our old life. The sound of the drill felt surgical. Final. I packed her things into boxes, labeled every one with painful precision. Clothes, shoes, bathroom, books she never finished, notes she never meant me to find, her yoga mat, the earrings I bought her in Asheville, the Polaroid of us at the lake, back when her laugh felt like home and not a red flag I couldn't read. The envelope with the photos sat on the kitchen counter. I placed it neatly on top of her favorite sweater, the same one she wore in the video where Kevin kissed her neck like he'd done it 100 times. She didn't come home that night, or the next. On Monday, I got a text. Jennifer, I don't know what to say. I stared at the screen, typed and deleted a dozen replies, settled on nothing, because what could she say that I hadn't already heard whispered on Bluetooth? Tuesday, I got a call from her mother, concerned, confused. She said you left her at dinner, that you kicked her out. Kyle, what's going on? I didn't hesitate. Ask your daughter, I said, and hung up. The silence that followed was peaceful, eerie, but clean, like stepping out into snow after a storm. For the first time in months, I could hear myself think, and I hated some of what I heard. The papers were served Thursday morning. I watched the process server walk up our driveway like it was just another delivery. Jennifer wasn't there to sign. That would come later. She showed up that night, didn't knock, just stood on the porch with tears in her eyes and one hand on her stomach, the way pregnant women do in photos when they want you to think about the life inside them instead of the damage they've caused outside. Please, she said, can we talk? I opened the door just enough to see her face. About what? About everything. About us. I shook my head. There is no us. Her voice broke. You don't even care about the baby? Whose baby, Jennifer? She blinked, stunned. You still think it's not yours? I don't need to think. I have timestamps. I have footage. I have your own words. Her mouth trembled. Her hand dropped from her belly like the performance had slipped. I made mistakes, she whispered. You built a second life. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. She looked down. For a second, I saw her. Not the version from the recordings. Not the gym-obsessed siren whispering into hidden microphones. Just a woman who finally realized the end was real. I loved you, she said. You loved winning, I replied. She stepped back like I slapped her. Is there any way back from this? I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Then I shut the door. The house felt cavernous after that. Too quiet. Too still. But it was honest. I don't know if the baby was ever mine. I don't know if she'll try to fight the divorce, or if Kevin will stick around once the novelty wears off. But I do know this. The truth started with a glitch, a Bluetooth hiccup, a voice that wasn't mine, and it ended with a decision, mine, to walk away from the noise, to stop asking questions I didn't want the answers to finally choose peace over proof. I deleted the audio files, archived the photos, burned the printouts in the backyard fire pit, one by one, because holding on to betrayal doesn't make it less true. It just keeps you tangled in it. And I'm done being tangled.